Starting over here with Bbyong, 12-5, 2-0 versus Terran. His last recent matches, though, he's off of a 2-loss streak, and he's 3 out of 5 in losses right now.
That's right. I kind of feel like we saw Bbyong last week play very well, which is kind of what my prediction went with after seeing him last week. I feel like he could do very well, and he has proven in the past that he does do very well in TVT. So I think this is a good matchup for him.
Last year, he was one of the most incredible Terran versus Terran players we had in Pro League when that matchup was much more often. He's up against MarineKing here, 10-9, 2-1 versus Terran. But I voted for MarineKing, as did Brendan, because this guy was the king of TVT. You guys think he built his career in Wings of Liberty in the very first open seasons off of TVZ? Well, he was innovative and his Marine splits were awesome. But really, this guy built a TVT career. He actually won and got to the tops of GSLs when there were mostly Terrans, off of Terran versus Terran in the past. And for me, I vote for him on faith today, not on recent results, because I think that old skill may come back to life today. We haven't seen a lot of Terran versus Terran out of this guy this year, but in the past, man, he was the king of TVT, taking out Terrans like Boxer and Nada, and really, really important matches. Let's jump into game number 1 for CJ versus Prime.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom left in the yellow, for CJ Entis, Terran player, it is Bbyong.
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 Sponsored by Netmarble. Over here in the top right, cross spawns. It is the king of Marines, MarineKing Prime. And I mean, let's talk about this guy's TVT.
Well, let me first mention that before we did have the colors the same, but down here in the bottom left is Bbyong in blue now. So
okay. Just
so you guys don't get confused.
Oh, that's really good to know, actually. I didn't even catch that. Prime Jang. Prime's awesome. Showing off her Korean skills right there. Right there, as I just said. Right there.
I like the way you Korean right there.
Yeah. No, that's well said, Brendan.
We're back to yellow here. That's going to change in just a moment, guys.
Yeah.
There we go.
There might have been some uncertainty there by JKS about how to change the colors.
It's a bit tricky with this streamline observing mode.
Yeah, it actually can be kind of confusing at times. There's a few less buttons. There's usually a button on the right side of the minimap for you to select that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not a. I prefer the standard. I'm a default guy. Like,
yeah, well, you're like you're a pro gamer, you know.
It's been 3 years with the default, so it's kind of hard to get used to it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm just glad that, for me, I'm glad we have production tab that has like a bar that lets you know when it's about to finish, and also that we have like both players' resources. Because remember, like in the first seasons of GSL, like the first MLGs, you couldn't see people's supplies unless you clicked on it. And then like we had like the production tab didn't even have like the production bar to tell you how close the barracks, etc. was to be finishing. You could all just see that a barracks was on the way, but you didn't know exactly like how close it was.
It has come a long way, that's for sure.
So I want to mention that we have a gas first for Bbyong, MarineKing with a more standard gas timing, and I mean that's probably just going to be for a fast factory. Let's see what he wants to do with that, or rather a fast starport. Excuse me. Could see him rush out a Raven, or he could go Cloak Banshees, which is more likely. What I was talking about earlier with MarineKing is if you haven't seen MarineKing versus Nada from, I want to say it's like GSL 2000. I think it's 2011 Season 1 of Code S. But anyways, just look up MarineKing versus Nada. It's a crazy base trade where when MarineKing is losing a TVT, if he's playing Marine Tank or even just a heavy bio, he will just do a Doom drop with like 9-10 medevacs, and then when you turn around, he'll fly away, and he'll just keep outmaneuvering you on the map and win a game that way. He's won so many TVTs that way in the past.
Oh yeah, he's definitely known for like his Doom drops in TVT. Like the amount of times and the amount of like bio that he plays in TVT, especially, he's always used to be his favorite kind of move. Never usually a mech kind of guy. Always going for bio, high maneuverability, high mobility, and we'll have to wait and see what he's going to do this game though.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to mention the spawning points for these two guys. I feel like it favors Bbyong a bit. I'd like to say that MarineKing, like you guys were talking about, he loves to do the Doom drops. He loves to be aggressive, but being cross spawns here, on this 4-player map of Frost. It's a really big map. It's going to be hard for MarineKing.
Look at this. The Reaper sneaks in. This is great for him. He's going to get all that information that he needs to know that the starport has finished up early here, sees the Hellion as well. And now he can actually try to camp his Reaper on the best possible path for a drop or a Banshee to see which one is coming out. It is going to be the drop here, in fact. And with no tech lab there, he could reasonably assume that's going to be the case. So I guess, maybe just taking the Watchtower is the best approach here. It looks like Bbyong is going to try to do either a Marine drop with Hellion run by or a Hellion drop with Marine run by at the natural, where MarineKing is actually greedily taking a command center and is even researching +1 right now with no bunker. There it is. He's starting it.
Yeah, very, very greedy play from MarineKing. It's kind of standard MarineKing style. He loves to get greedy early on, very early CCs. And yeah, definitely looks like we might even see like a Hellion Marine sort of ferry into the main if he can get away with it.
Yeah.
And there just really isn't that much that MarineKing can do at this point. He's only just really started his Marine Marauder production. 4 Marines on the map, I believe.
Yeah, but guys, let's not forget, if he holds this well, losing nothing, his counterattack potential is quite strong here.
Oh, yeah.
With the composition he's building.
Absolutely.
Now Hellion's at the front. He sees the bunker, and he's going to put this medevac definitely towards the back. He's not going to attack at the front. MarineKing knows he saw the starport. He's waiting for this medevac. It's not going to get in there. He spotted it.
Yeah, well, he's going to elevator here regardless. MarineKing is actually not on top of that.
If the Hellions can get like a really good shot off.
Yeah, they're going to get a great shot there on the low ground. But good splitting here by MarineKing. That's what he's known for.
That's a lot of damage.
Still the medevac doing some decent healing here. 2 more Marines pop out, which are going to help, but still.
It's the fall, but the Hellion drop here, that's the scariest part. Even the Reaper coming in here to try to participate. He's got to pull some SCVs right now, but they're lining up for the Hellion damage. What a great drop here by Bbyong, doing so much damage. Great pull away there at the last second by MarineKing. The medevac doesn't run out of energy anytime soon, so he realizes this. He needs to start targeting down the Hellions if he can. And damage done here, quite significant. However, still a MarineKing lead in SCVs with double mules, and how Bbyong decides to try to compensate for this is to start a 3rd command center.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the right way to catch up to this. I mean, he did a little bit of damage, maybe got like 1 or 2 SCVs, but at the same time, like, wasn't enough damage to really make up for how early MarineKing got that CC. So to compensate, 3rd CC fast is a great idea, and he really has like complete map control with this kind of tech. With all this harassment, he knows exactly what MarineKing's going, what he's capable of, and what his kind of timings will be.
Yep. He even saw the engineering bay in the back, so I mean, he sees the missile turrets there, but he can reasonably assume, based on the timing, that MarineKing probably went for the +1.
Well, you could even click on the units to see it at this point, right? So that's kind of scary. Now, notice at home he's adding a 2nd factory. He's getting a Banshee even, and that Banshee is kind of, for me, the telltale of, okay, we're going to see mech 100%. You know, the 2nd factory doesn't necessarily mean that, but the fact that he's cut Marine production here as well as that, it seems pretty likely. Now, that one Hellion there at the main base to get a few additional kills, he's trying to use this efficiency to the best of his ability. Now, what I really like about the Banshee here without Cloak is that he knows MarineKing's next play is to move out and be aggressive directly with the Bioforce that he's built with those upgrades. And that's when the Banshee comes in and gets a sweet spot away from the turrets and starts picking off any reinforcements, any Marines he can find, and perhaps even some SCVs.
Yeah, I actually really feel like he has to be very careful. Like, after scouting, Bbyong kind of like understands that MarineKing is going to be very aggressive. And like this transition where he's going into mech after this aggression is like probably his weakest point. So he has to play it very carefully. He has to position his tanks very well. No real turrets up there to really deal with any sort of mini-back harass that could come. So yeah, this is like the timing that MarineKing can kind of count on to possibly do some damage.
Yep. I remember a famous game, well, not really that famous, but a game that MarineKing played where he actually ran his Bioforce into mech. Some Terran he was playing against was meching, and he just ran into a bunch of tanks.
Yeah.
But he's got to be careful about that. But look at this. He's going to drop right into the main. Scans as well. There's only 1 tank there.
Yeah, he might actually be able to pick off some add-ons here, get that reactor, maybe get the tech lab, and maybe even a siege tank! No concussive shells, and a nice save there on the medevac by Bbyong. And MarineKing needs to get out of here. This is no good anymore. Absolutely does not want to stick around. With that upgrade advantage, he takes out a lot of the bio. But I'm not so sure this is actually worth it for what he lost. And this Banshee over here now with 5 kills. He doesn't have any Marines nearby, just 1 Marauder. And that's that sweet spot I was talking about. Just get away from that turret. Doesn't even need Cloak to do that damage.
Yeah, it was a very awkwardly placed sort of turret. I mean, it's good for like protecting the left side, but if it gets in that little secret place there, it's just going to rack up kills, especially if there's a fight going on.
Yeah, a little secret place,
That
man.
super secret place in the back.
The secret little nook at the back, you know, you got to be careful.
That's John the Translator's little secret spot.
Exactly, I mean.
That's where he likes to go and practice his Yu-Gi-Oh strategies.
No doubt, no doubt. We found him at last.
Well, guys, MarineKing is getting the +2/+2. He added another engineering base, so I think he's going to want to be aggressive here once again right now because he has that 1-1, whereas Bbyong, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't have anything right now for his tanks.
Well, he's about to get Blue Flame, which is pretty decent against Marines, that's for sure. But yeah, he still has to be quite defensive, quite careful, leading the supply by quite an amount, trying to take this third base, and MarineKing's going to stop him in his tracks.
That's what's really important, that third base, because MarineKing's third base is so late here, and it's coming up just now. But if he could deny this third base of his opponent, that would be so important for him right now.
This could do a lot of damage.
Certainly, there's no defense in place.
Definitely, especially when MarineKing is so distracted trying to deal with denying the third base, sneaking Marines in, forcing them off the mineral patch, which is pretty damn good damage to begin with. And if you could get like an engineering bay or something, that would be huge.
Oh, 3 kills on this Blue Flame Hellbat.
Oh, this is cute.
Actually should be able to maybe kill his Marines.
Oh, so close.
Not with the upgrades. Look at this! Oh, what?
Oh my god.
Oopsie daisy.
Oh, that's such a big mistake.
That's
actually
huge. That is actually insane. That's a game changer by far. And Bbyong really had to pay attention to that. He was doing so much multitasking across the map, just wasn't paying attention to his CC, and he starts to rebuild it. Makes 2, in fact.
Yeah, he's like
Bbyong's
really
not messing around, guys. He's like, okay, I made a mistake, but now I'll just make 2 more.
He will compensate. I mean, he's still leading in supply by a little bit, and he does have kind of the stronger army.
better supply for sure.
Yeah.
My concern really for him is it's not on the table just yet. It's actually the 3/3 upgrades from MarineKing once he has that. Because as far as I can tell, Bbyong has not gotten any upgrades for his units, not even +1. So
by the looks of it, no.
The bio will actually do well against that at 3/3 at max versus max. This Hellbat drop is actually might run right into that awkwardly placed turret, but we'll see what it does after that. No reaction by MarineKing. Now pulling the SCVs. Quite a bit of damage done here.
Yeah, getting a few SCVs.
One more shot on that would have done it, but look at this. MarineKing is ready with some units, but still, even just 3 Blue Flame Hellions are able to get a lot of kills here.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
MarineKing on 3 bases, but so down on SCVs that the mules are really the more important factor here. Whereas Bbyong is about to have that mule lead with 2 additional orbitals finishing up here in just a moment. Actually insta-lift here. Notice he does that. It's almost never correct to lift before making that mule, making that orbital, but in this case he's so desperate to get that faster mining that it makes sense.
Yeah, he's so saturated on his 2 bases that he needs to start main-arting SCVs over ASAP.
Notice he actually lifts his 2nd orbital towards the same direction. Okay, it's just a temporary thing for vision. All right, here we go. This is actually a lot of bio here with 2-2 versus just Blue Flame. There's no other upgrades whatsoever here. I don't think attacking directly is the right choice, but here's one of those Doom drops.
Here we go.
MarineKing Prime coming in here. That's a lot of Hellbats to drop on top.
Oh, I love that. What a great move by Bbyong.
PDD is at the back to help out as well, and MarineKing's army gets crushed here.
Yeah, gets really crushed, and a counter drop coming in at the main. Actually, this is surviving for longer than I think it should have. Those Hellbats really could fight those, but still, it's got to deal with this drop. I'm not sure if MarineKing notices. Trying to make his units over there.
This is actually just really showing us, well, not this. This is actually showing us why it's good to keep units at home, but what the drop at Bbyong's base is showing us is that those upgrades are really quite impactful. I mean, looked like he was way down in the fight, way down on supply, but just with those upgrades, he's able to continue to do damage. Finally cleans that up here.
Oh, still so much more damage going down.
Oh, no, he cannot lose this. He cannot lose this. It's being targeted, but no, he doesn't quite have enough.
Those tanks on the high ground are so key there. It's going to be a lot harder for MarineKing to take down that CC with those tanks in a really good position.
Right. Now, he still has control of the high ground for a little bit longer, so he can deny mining with that. But with the Vikings that Bbyong has with that air control, it's not going to be as easy for him to just pick up and leave. He needs to be careful about how long he sticks around. And notice, like I was talking about before, MarineKing did not waste a second on that 3-3. Spent a lot of money on that, and it's really going to start to pay off here in these upcoming fights.
Oh, yeah.
Am I wrong, or is Bbyong still not started +1 for his
He hasn't
vehicles?
started. He hasn't started yet. And,
no upgrades.
But, I mean, one important thing to note is that MarineKing wasted a lot. Well, he didn't really waste, but he lost a lot of medivacs in that thing, in that kind of in that drop.
Yeah, that's expensive. Now, we were incorrect about the upgrades, it seems. Bbyong sneaked out the +1 attack. We don't have an observing PC today, too, with our weird setup. So
yeah, it's kind of difficult.
We've been having like a lack of production tab, too, in this game, so we're just about as in the know as you guys are when it comes to stuff like this right now. Notice MarineKing starting to get plating for his medevacs and also perhaps the battlecruiser transition that we could see later if he tries to do that air control play, which we do see sometimes in TVT. It's kind of a risky gambit that you can do where you just try to take control.
Gambit.
It's a gambit, man.
Well, like,
a shenanigan.
if the Terran can take the air control, if, like, say, MarineKing transitions into Vikings late game, kind of takes the air control and then can, like, transitions back into battle cruisers, or does, like, the surprise battle cruiser out of nowhere, both can make such a
All right,
difference.
those tanks are unsieged, and no drop here on the Hellbats. Totally out of position right now is Bbyong, but he still has enough tanks, it looks like, with his Hellbat damage to push the army back. But MarineKing's reinforcements are coming up. Another tank is picked off, and this is mostly medevacs in the sky with nothing underneath. Vikings completely useless right now, and MarineKing is trying to push it home. He's totally circumvented those siege tanks, and now perhaps could get into the main base. Those lack of medevacs we were talking about earlier, though, Moonblade, definitely hurting him here.
Definitely, but he's got those +3 upgrades really, really helping him out. He's denied total mining here at the natural. That third base is basically the only mining he's getting right now. And MarineKing's getting his fourth pretty safely here. He's going to stem in once again.
Here he goes. The tanks move for just a moment. He tries to target down what he can. His army is cleaned up, but that bank to the top right is so great for MarineKing right now. He's adding additional production structures here. Not only is he adding them, but he's adding them forward at a more forward location so that he can reinforce his attacks a lot faster. He's going to want mostly Marauders with this mix. As you guys can see now, making 5 Marauders at a time, replenishing that medevac group that he had, but still, Bbyong's army, even though he lost a lot of workers, is very strong.
It really is. We got a good shot of all of those tanks sieging up in one location. I feel like if MarineKing identifies that, and Bbyong doesn't have any supporting tanks for that, he could do a big doom job on all of those tanks as well. Could work out.
Yep, and I mean, this is exactly MarineKing's style. He's Bio style. He's got complete map control. He's taking extra bases everywhere, and he's keeping Bbyong inside his base. And he's doing so much damage, such good trades with these Marauders, killing so many tanks and resetting the tank count again and again.
This is like mech versus why people didn't mech in 2011. MarineKing is playing like it is 2011 against a meching player here, and a lot of units lost there. That was an expensive mistake.
Yep, but I mean, MarineKing still with a 20 supply lead now, and there's nothing Bbyong can really do at this point. He kind of has to build up his ball and then get ready to move out. But when he moves out, there's going to be so much counterattack opportunities for MarineKing that it could very well end in a base trade or something like that.
You know, I just realized we talked about this earlier. I can actually watch the match on the big screen. I think I'm just going to start doing that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but it's like it's kind of like
so cool.
It's a weird resolution there, so like kind of puts me off a little bit.
Oh, Moonblade, stop complaining.
I'm sorry.
I like the fact that we can see their faces. This is actually my first time watching Pro League from the audience.
Yeah, because you and I are literally here like every time on the desk.
You can see their like huge faces here. It's actually a really cool experience.
Yeah, pretty interesting for sure. It definitely makes for a kind of easier to cast. Yeah, the preview screen at least.
Well, it feels like a great spectator setup here, and I'm glad I can finally like experience Pro League like a spectator while I'm commentating.
And we get to sit in the dark, which is kind of fun.
I'm like, they should actually do this at like one of those indie tournaments like DreamHack, where like they actually just like put the casters with wireless mics in the middle of the crowd and have them cast the game. like now that we said this, I bet this is gonna happen. Like, I'm calling it right now.
In the BYO like LAN area, just like casting away.
Yeah, it's like a whole bunch of fans and I just like high five them and like screaming, and they're just like sitting there casting the game.
Yeah,
that sounds
pretty
sick.
cool.
I actually want to try that now. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ask Spody back and just go sit in the middle of the crowd and cast off the big TV.
Awesome, like random English people. What do they think about what's going on?
Do you like interview people during the game? It's like, how do you think this is going? Who do you think is going to win this game from here on out? Like,
well, honestly, I think Bbyong is starting to really build up some momentum here because he's got that unbreakable army now. It's just going to be hard for him to move out. Notice he's getting +3 for his mech now. High-sec auto tracking, which is going to help out in a lot of ways. Primarily for the turrets, but also for planetary fortresses, auto turrets, what have you. Oh, here we go. He's actually looking like he wants to engage us, and MarineKing is not looking. He's a stim and run away from that with medevacs with speed.
Oh, so much damage. I love the medivac drops.
But a counterattack over here at Bbyong's 4th. Planetary is going to tank a lot, but I don't know. I don't know if that's enough SVs repairing against this many Marauders. Okay, turns out it is.
Well, it's a move command.
He's stressing out. He's got so much stuff going on the map, but he's lost a lot of his supply here.
Yeah.
He's actually just 1-Aing back. He has to stop this gigantic attack from going on.
He could try to sandwich this maybe, but I still think there's too many siege tanks to engage us directly.
While they're all sieged up, there's really no way that MarineKing can deal with this. Not with the air control, with Vikings. The medivac's full of Hellbats and all these tanks sieged up. There's no way that MarineKing can really get anywhere near this. I feel like he kind of missed his opportunity to do like a tech switch into like air.
Yeah, and Bbyong was always like making Vikings constantly just in fear of that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. He's in complete control of the air, so there's nothing really MarineKing can do at the moment.
Well, I mean, we're watching Bio versus Mech at the highest level here now in Korea, and I just say, I mean, MarineKing's style, you know, really has mostly faded away. Marine Tank seems to be the second best way to play this one. We saw resurgence of Bio like in 2013 and a little bit of 2012, but it seems to be in TBT in our limited observations in recent metas that Mech's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Bio still has its place, but I feel like you have to transition. As most things in this game, like it's good for a time, but there are things that beat it for sure.
I actually think that MarineKing has no chance in stopping this attack. I'd much rather see him try to go for a base race. I'd love to see him just go around this entire army, try to drop in the main. I'm sure Bbyong has got some defense, but I think it's his only hope right now. He's trying to switch to Banshees and take that air control. He's making 2 starports, but...
Notice that's why Bbyong is already making 3 Thors. Bbyong has like looked at this like, there's no way you could beat me except with air control. And I already have some Vikings. I'm going to make turret rings around my siege tanks, and I'm going to keep pushing. He's like a wall that moves. He's like the moving wall on the screen on Super Mario for Super Nintendo that kills you actually when you run out of space.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Essentially, and MarineKing kind of cornered himself here. And yeah, he really missed an opportunity to do a lot of counterattacking, a lot of base trading.
He's just not equipped anymore. He's got 20 Mirage and 17 Marines. That's not enough units to win a base race, especially against all these planetaries on the map.
Well, here comes MarineKing's trying to take over the air control right now. He does have more Vikings, but a big Hellbat drop on a lot of those Marauders there in the corner.
Taking air control isn't significant considering those Thors are walking across the map right now, and he doesn't have any Banshees really set up just yet. He's got 1, no BCs, and the damage has already been done. He has 1,300, 700 in resources, but he's like making medevacs right now with his air control instead, which... I mean, maybe this is going to give him the Doom drop he needs. Maybe he's like, well, if I get like 7 medevacs out, maybe I have 7 medevac drop. Those are rip apart his main, and maybe I could somehow win like a beat Nada, but...
I don't know at this point. I mean, being down like 80 supply like this, it's kind of... I can't really imagine some sort of comeback unless like there's like a move command into the massive Marauders. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're just preaching the truth right now. Like,
I'm preaching it, man. Amen. GG's.
Bbyong is good. Bbyong is great.
Oh, here it is. On siege, and he steps forward. Isn't enough.
Not even
it doesn't
close.
even look like it's
struggling to get past the Thors and the Hellbats. That was a massacre.
Yeah, dropping a 50 supply.
Now the next question is: are we going to see a MarineKing timing GG?
Yes.
You can tell. You can see his face. Like
better question: are we going to see him type GG in Hangul or in English?
Well, he's waited long enough to like kind of like simmer down a bit, so I think we might actually see an English GG.
It's possible, guys.
Let's wait
we may
and see
it.
All the suspense right now. What language is he going to type it in?
GG!
We got it. We got it.
All right.
Bbyong
looking strong, man. He had definitely some weak moments in that game, but
I was worried for a bit, yeah.
He made it difficult for MarineKing to do that air switch because he always had so many Vikings. Like, he had like 8 Vikings early on, and I feel like that sacrifice cost him some of his control early on in the game. Like, he lost his third base because he had so much supply in Vikings.
Yeah.
But that's what protected him from the BC, Banshee, like, air control switch. So MarineKing was never comfortable enough to actually go, you know, yeah, I think it's time. He just never had that moment.
Well, I mean, like, he had like 4 or 5 bases, and he was like in a clear like economic lead. But he just never really took the advantage. He never really put down like 4 starports. It was like, okay, it's time to make Vikings in mass.
Yeah, he tried, but it was way too late at that point.
Way too late.
Way too late. It was when Bbyong was on the doorstep, like killing his third base. It's like, no,
yeah. When you got like a 200 mech army knocking on your doors, probably a bit too late.
I honestly feel like that was MarineKing's biggest flaw in that game. He was stuck on one thought path for too long. He was trying to make it work for so long, but eventually it got the best of him.
Exactly right. We didn't get to see the predictions there, but I predicted Bbyong. Just saying.
is right. I actually switched my vote. I'm definitely regretting that now, but
yeah, remember Brendan and I voted MarineKing, and
I don't know. MarineKing, he's looking really good these days, but
he looks great.
Not the best TBT I've seen out of him.
Yeah, I mean,
it was cross spawns that hurts, you know, cross spawns on cross.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Gotta make as many excuses as possible just to back us up, you know.
All 5 other casters voted for Bbyong as well.
Yep.
Including you, so all 4 Korean casters. I checked it actually specifically because that was the vote I felt like, I hope I'm not the only one who feels this way. And then I checked every single one of the casters' votes, and none of them actually voted for MarineKing. So, it's all right. He played well. I'm not unhappy.
No, it was a great game. Definitely old sort of style. Definitely nice to see MarineKing playing that style still. But yeah, I mean, it could have made it work for sure. He definitely had the advantage. But the problem is with mech is that it's like you only have so